You know, the federal government just passed a new retirement law which says that you don't have to be 65 to retire, and that's fortunate because tonight Molly Picon, who will be 80 this coming February,
you spoil all my chances. Here I am, you know, looking for... Oh, go ahead.
No, what were you... Well, I think it's... And I'm sorry to draw attention to that in the beginning, but the law that was just passed, or is we hopefully will be passed, draws attention to this fixation we have on youth in America. And of course, you are an excellent example that age is really not necessarily a barrier to anything.
Well, especially in the theater, you know, we have so many actors that went on and on and on, and never tired, and never let down in their performance, because we were brought up that way. We are people who project and who shout when we have to. At any age, we are still screaming.
So why do you think we ever got this idea that when you reached a certain chronological age, you should be moved aside?
I don't know how it started, but I'm so glad it's going to be changed now, because people, I think, when they have all the know-how that it takes that many years to get, should be allowed to function and give this to the world.
Right. Now, at 80, I asked you just before we started taping, is your outlook any different than it was 50 years ago when you were 30?
I'm still looking for a good part, and I'm always looking for good audiences and good jobs, and though I don't need it either financially, but I do need it morally. I need to keep busy. And this is my lifestyle, and I'm just the same now as I was 50 years ago, and just as unsure. Now, I'm not as insecure, but I never know when a thing is really going to be good or bad, because none of us know in the theater when you choose a play or a part or a television series whether it's going to be good. But I always have the desire to get a new challenge so I can do something new again.
Right. Does the word retirement, have you ever thought about that?
Never heard the word. I wouldn't know what to do with myself if I retired, really.
I wonder why people do if they're healthy. I never have understood. Some people are forced to, of course, but those who don't have to, I don't understand if they like what they do.
Well, if they find other interests outside of themselves, I think the only bad part of retirement is that you are too much with yourself. You begin to feel every pain and every ache and see every fault. But when you have a job to do, and I must tell you, after my husband died, Yankel was my husband, he was my mentor, and he was my Professor Higgins. When he died, the last thing he said to me is, "Molly, keep working." And for 3 or 4 months I did nothing, and then I was ready to climb up a wall, so I called my agent. I said, "Get me some work. I want to go back to work." And the first thing he did was book me at Carnegie Hall for a concert. And I said, "Fine, I'll do a concert. Sure, that's good." And then I said, "What concert? I haven't done a concert in years." And I went through my material that I used to do at the Palace and so forth, and I found the songs I wanted to do. But then I discovered I have no throat. I couldn't sing. My legs were gone. There was nothing in me that I had to give anymore, and I was petrified. But I said, I'll do a little trick. I took slides from the time I was 9 months old to my last performance with Chevalier or Jolson or somebody, and I had slides made. And on the last one, I had my birth certificate on there, and I had them shown before I went on in Carnegie Hall. And I called my doctor before it. I said, "Doctor, I haven't got a throat." He said, "Let me pencil it. Go to your coach." I said, "I never took a lesson. What coach?" He said, "Well, try, Molly, I have nothing that I can do for you." I stood behind the curtain. Carnegie Hall was sold out. And I said to myself, my husband used to say, "It's no trick to drink from a full bottle. It's a trick to drink from an empty bottle." And I said to myself, as the slides were going, "Molly, you are an empty bottle. Now let's see what you can do with it." And I stepped out on stage after those slides, and that whole audience got up and applauded. And my voice came back, and my legs came back, and the comedy came back as if I had never stopped a minute in all my life. And I called the doctor again. He said, "Molly, this is the phenomena that I don't know and nobody else knows. Something, the chemistry starts working within you," and there it was. Well, I don't know why I told you that story.
Well, no, that's a wonderful story, because it points up what I think many people watching who have come to South Florida to retire have been bitterly disappointed by what retirement has turned out to be. If it's filled with inactivity, it's almost a death knell. People must stay active.
That's why I think people should find some interest in life, something in which they can give of themselves to others. because I think giving is living. I don't think living for oneself is living.
Right.
But when you have something to give and share with somebody else, I have just finished writing a book which I hope my publishers, Simon & Schuster, are doing it, will call The Sound of Laughter, because the sound of laughter to me has been my cue in life, my reason in life to make people laugh. Now I'm going to tell you why I chose it. My husband and I went through the concentration camps, the DP camps, after the war, 2 months after the war. And we saw the whole picture. We found the whole picture. But the thing that impressed me the most was not an old lady, a lady who brought an infant to one of the shows, and the child started crying. And Yanko went over while I was singing, and he said, "Why did you bring an infant, lady, you know, at the show?" And she said, "My child has never heard the sound of laughter, and I don't want her to grow up without hearing people laugh." See? Makes me cry now.
Well, yeah.
And from then on, this was our goal in life, is to make people laugh, especially our people who've gone through so much tragedy.
Yes. I don't know what to say after a story like that. That is a very touching.
Well, this I say this as a cue to living. It has given me a cue to go on and on after I have lost Yanko, who was really the most important part of my life. But he taught me so much, and I still have so much I hope to give to people. And it's a wonderful thing to get up every morning and know that you're going to do this or do that or do the other. And that's what I think people in retirement should try to do, find a reason for going on outside of themselves.
Well, you can see, ladies and gentlemen, we could go on for hours, and I wish we could.
Go on for 80 years.
For 80 years, and you're just getting started. Your future's full, isn't it?
Well, my bookings are pretty full.
Yeah.
I'm going to play here at the
Tuesday
Miami
night.
Theatre of the Performing Arts.
Miami Beach Center of Performing Arts.
From October
Tuesday
the
night
4th.
with Hans Conried, who's eligible for retirement.
Hans Conried is just one of the greatest actors I've ever worked with, and one of the most beautiful human beings.
Second time around is the story of what?
It's the story of a 65-year-old man, 64-year-old lady who meet in a doctor's office and begin exchanging their little, Mama used to call them odds and ends, little arthritis, little diabetes, and become sort of close to each other, and they want to live together without getting married, because if they marry, she loses her Social Security and they won't have enough money. Now, this is a very prevalent thing in Miami, I think.
Now, Molly, you're playing a younger girl. You're playing a 64-year-old
Yeah.
femme fatale.
Well, I hope that I don't look my age.
I think you can do it very well. We look forward to seeing you.
Thank you, Jim.
Molly Picon, thank you very much. We'll be right back.